Hello everyone, Rabbit here today. We're going to talk about a system that we've been watching for quite a while now. Honestly, over the past week, I've been keeping a very close eye on this thing as it looked like it's going to try and produce some form of severe weather. And as you can see, it is doing that. We have a day 1 enhanced risk of severe weather in Nebraska and parts of Colorado. This is currently driven by a 30% chance of seeing damaging winds in Nebraska, Colorado, and a tiny sliver of Kansas. Expect some very powerful storms across this warning area, and we have a 5% chance of tornadoes happening as well. And just for clarification, that 5% chance of tornadoes is mainly in Nebraska, Wisconsin, Illinois, Kansas, and Colorado. Alrighty, next up on day 2 outlook, we have a moderate risk of severe weather, which is mainly in Iowa and Illinois. But we do have an enhanced risk of severe weather that does extend throughout Iowa, Wisconsin, Missouri, and a tiny sliver of Kansas, and also an even smaller sliver of Nebraska. Expect some very powerful damaging winds in these areas. And we do have that 10% chance of tornadoes. I need to go along with this, which I will show you here in just a moment. And as promised, here is that tornadic side of the storm. Once again, 10% chance of tornadoes. This one in Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, Wisconsin. And you can expect isolated tornadoes throughout the red and the green there as well. There is a possibility. It's not extremely likely that this does get upgraded to a 15%, but it is there. Right, next up, we have a 45% chance of seeing damaging winds within 25 miles of a certain given area. We have that 45% chance in Iowa, Illinois, and parts of Missouri, as well as a 30% chance, like I said, in Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Missouri as well. Then on the day 3 outlook, we have a slight risk of severe weather that may or may not get upgraded to a 3 out of 5. Alright, next up, we're going to look at the simulated radar for all of this. You can see we could expect some small thunderstorms developing around Springfield, Missouri at around 9 a.m. We could also see some convection and thunderstorms popping up over Iowa and Wisconsin at the same time, as well as in the parts of Minnesota. And then we'll push this forward a little bit to the 4th run. You can tell around 12 p.m. today, we had some convection happening in Iowa again, and Wisconsin. Some of this was thunderstorms. Alright, we'll push it forward again here just a little bit. Then we will be looking at the 4 p.m., how this will look. So now we're in the forecast. You can see a large line of storms that's going to try to develop around Chicago, as well as maybe some isolated supercells to the south there around Springfield and Bloomington. I would be watching those pretty closely for their tornadic possibilities. Next up, then we have some storms that will try to fire up south of St. Louis around 4 p.m. the same time as well. Then moving on, we will, and just to make sure you can see there, like that little hook I just draw, any of these storms that get that potential for tornadoes will have a decent chance. If they get in a good position to produce a tornado, I guess you could say, then they have a very good chance of doing so. Because the ingredients are there. There's just one ingredient or two that just is not very prime for tornado environment. We'll push this forward a little farther up. You can see some new convection will pop up near Kansas City and Topeka, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri. And then we'll move this forward a little bit, like I said, to 7 p.m. You can see that line of storm that moves from Chicago to into Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan, or central Illinois, I guess you could say then, begins to produce some damaging winds, hail, and isolated tornadoes. But you can see that very rapidly kind of dies off in Michigan there, and southern Michigan to be exact. But that will continue into maybe some of eastern Michigan too. And you can see there, you could have some storms firing still to the south. But those still will have a decent potential for hail, wind, and also possible tornadoes. Some more convection and thunderstorms are going to pop up over here in western Nebraska, Colorado, and possibly even Wyoming. We'll push this forward some more momentarily. There we go. We have some major storms that are going to try and pop up near Minneapolis tonight. Just before midnight, some more storms try to develop next to Sioux Falls and north of Lincoln could form too. Push this forward some more. There we go. So looking at more of now 9 a.m., you can see a major line of storms will really develop into Iowa and Nebraska. We'll push that back a little bit to 7 a.m. Still see a major line of storms developing. Major damaging wind there. Hail and tornadoes are possible there. You can see some more convection that'll produce maybe some thunderstorms along with it. Well, it's the same thing here, but this will become more organized and become less of just convection and maybe some organized thunderstorms, hail, wind, and possibly isolated tornadoes are going to occur with that, okay? And some more thunderstorms and convection up in Minnesota and Wisconsin. And the same thing there goes into 12 a.m. tomorrow. 12 a.m. Wednesday. So I apologize for that. And then you can just see this major swirling system. If you're anywhere in the circle, I'd watch out for severe weather. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to stay up to date.